Hello, everybody. Cinephile Mike, your friendly neighborhood cinephile, is here, and we are moving right along with Razzies Week. It is day 52 of Award Season Review Season 2, and as promised, today we are talking about the other film dealing with the devil. Yes, today is all about The Exorcist Believer, the film that you could say was 50 years in the making, as this film serves as the direct sequel to the Oscar winning original from 1973 and disregards the other sequels that came after it. Now, box office wise, according to Box Office Mojo, during its theatrical run, the film had a return of $136,251,520 worldwide. 65,537,395 came from the domestic box office, $70,714,125 internationally, which is less than half of the budget for the film. And I'm going to get there. So, fun fact, the original film was nominated for 10 Oscars, including Best Picture, winning 2 of the 10 for Best Sound and Best Adapted Screenplay. Its successor is nominated for 5 Razzies. It's tied at the second most nominated film at the Razzies this year. Interesting, this is for not just Worst Picture or Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel, but it's nominated for both of those categories. Unlike Ant-Man and Shazam, which I talked about earlier this week, which either had one or the other. But no, here, 2 of the 5 are for that. Worst Picture and Worst Sequel, Remake, Ripoff, etc. The other 3 are for Worst Director, sorry David Gordon Green, and Worst Screenplay, which Green shares with Peter Sattler. And the 5th award is for Worst Screen Couple. Now, interestingly enough, not for a pair of actors in the film, but, and I quote the Razzies website, worst couple for any 2 money-grubbing investors who donated the $400 million for remake rights to The Exorcist. Warranted? Well, let's talk about it. So, The Exorcist Believer starts in approximately 2010, where Victor Fielding, a photographer played by Leslie Odom Jr., is on his honeymoon with his pregnant wife Soren in Haiti. Now, after an earthquake, Soren is injured and dies as a result of her injuries, but not before their daughter Angela is born. So then we will quickly jump forward 13 years to present day, roughly, and Victor is raising his daughter Angela in Georgia, present day Georgia. One day, in an attempt to contact her mother via seance, she goes off into the woods with her friend Catherine. The girls end up missing for about 3 days until they are found in a barn. And, for a while they seem normal with just some burns on their feet, but then they begin to exhibit some of the signs of possession that we saw Reagan have in the original that seemed to kind of come out of left field. Now, Victor's neighbor Anne, played by Ann Dowd, recommends them speak with Chris McNeil. Yes, Ellen Burstyn is back in her Oscar nominated role, now as an exorcism expert. Not a spoiler, she was in all the trailers and the marketing material. Now, through a series of events, both girls will need to have exorcisms performed as they are both possessed, and both families, Victor for Angela and Catherine's parents, Miranda and Tony, played by Jennifer Nettles and Norbert Leo Butz, respectively, will have to address their feelings of religion and faith and see if they can save their girls. And really, that's all I want to share in a summary, because if I say anything more, we'll get into spoilers. Although I would be almost remiss to say, if you saw the original, with the exception of a tweak at the end with the results of the exorcism, you may feel you've already seen this movie. And sadly, I have to say, the Razzies that this film was nominated for, they're warranted. I mean, the cast is good. They do what they can with the material, but there's so much time dedicated to certain plot elements that other things just get overshot. I mean, and this is what I'm glad. None of the performances were nominated, which is good because, again, they did the best with what they could with the material they're given. So, was the issue I had with how Ant-Man and Shazam were nominated for acting awards. You can't blame that on the performers. That's really on the material they have. Sadly, Sattler and Green's screenplay is weak. Now, David Gordon Green did a good job reviving the Halloween franchise, even if it pivoted, a little bit off from the greatness of the first one to the third. So I was hopeful for The Exorcist, but I feel there was just a little too much focus on let's pay homage to the first film, and the story kind of got left by the wayside. And additionally, by having two girls as possessed hosts, okay, attempt to do something original, but now there's so much that they're trying to cover that you don't know. I mean, maybe it warrants a rewatch, but I didn't even know how these two girls were such good friends. It's like this relationship was completely ignored. And if you're going to bring back legacy characters, they need to serve a purpose. Legacy characters in the newer Screams worked, in the newer Halloweens worked. Here, legacy characters brought back, I don't know if it was necessary. So, for the first time so far in 52 days, this hasn't happened. Happened a couple times during Razzies week last year. The Exorcist Believer, for me, 1 star. I did not enjoy this film. It did not keep my interest, and I truly felt that the talents of these gifted performers, Odom Jr., Leo Butts, and Dowd, who also was in this, like they they deserved better. But to each their own. There could be some fans out there. I mean, it's not 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, so there are some people who are fans. So if you would like to see The Exorcist Believer and see how the story is continued, it is currently streaming exclusively on Peacock. So there you have it. Tomorrow we will be looking at another film that has multiple Razzies for taking a childhood tale and turning it horrific. Know which film I'm talking about? You can probably figure it out if you've looked at the list. But you'll have to come back tomorrow for all the goodies. Thank you for joining me. As always, if you like what you heard, please subscribe, like the channel, get the word out there. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. See everyone tomorrow as we continue on our awards journey. And until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.